being the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
We're behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. Then when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. If we do that, we'll be all right.
Good morning, CTS Sports Room. Welcome to the Special Teams Podcast. Today, we're going to be doing number 1 Georgia versus number 3 TCU College Football National Championship. Can TCU pull out the upset? Can they pull out the upset? We'll see. We'll see. But, I got my man, Heart of the South, my Georgia guy. And like usual, we about to get down and talk Georgia football. I'm about to bring him in. Y'all show him some love. What's going on?
Dogs.
Go Dogs. Oh, man. Golly.
Yeah, baby.
Every time we do this, I'm like, this supposed to be us. This ain't supposed to be y'all. It's supposed to be us. This was our year. It's so funny to talk about it, man.
Now you
We
sound like a
just knew for
Cowboys
sure.
fan.
Man, no, we can't sound like a Cowboy fan. We been relevant. We still relevant. It was so confident coming into the season, but we going 15. We just knew we were going 15. Believed it too. That was the thing. We went there talk. We believed it. So
No, you couldn't go 15-0. We believe we were going 15. So something had to give.
Yeah, it look like we get too fast. It look like we gave before we needed to give. Roll Tide, rise up, Roll Tide, man.
Y'all still got
You right. So what?
Still got a solid team though. Y'all still got a solid team, man. It just both the games that y'all lost were pretty close matchups. So
yeah,
it wasn't like y'all got just completely thrown out of the game. So
yeah, that's facts. But hey, it is what it is. We'll still move on, get better. That's all we can do. So Georgia game last week. Take me through your feelings through the beginning to end. Tell me what was your feelings through the whole game, man.
Oh man, no big deal. Just relax, So I'm pretty sure clinically I had about 3 heart attacks. I'm pretty sure I did. Like it was, the game pretty much went exactly like I said it needed to go if we were to potentially lose the game, which was Georgia refusing to run the ball, absolutely refusing to run the ball. Every time we ran the ball, it looked like the entire field opened up. Yeah. And I'm like, why are we not running the ball more? Like, it has been put on film that Ohio State cannot stop the run. But for some reason, it's like we're dedicated to proving that Stetson Bennett deserves to be there. The second part was I literally felt like I was having a stroke every time the defense is on the field, because I knew they were going to go at Keely Ringo. Oh my God, I would just, the entire game, I was so frustrated because the moment the ball snapped, I could see like Keely Ringo as if he had a restraining order against him and he was afraid to be within 100 feet of anybody. Like it's just so annoying. Like it was so annoying to watch that game. I watched it. CJ Stroud do his thing, man. He balled out. So to give him credit, he did what he had to do, man. And I hate when I see guys like that, and the result is that they lost the game because you kind of forget how great of a game they had. But that dude, man, he balled out. He balled out. But I wanted on the most of the whole game, man. Down 14, the first thing I thought of was when you asked me about what happens when we go down 14. I was like, oh my God, we're down 14.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
and they were like, I said 14-0. I was like, well, 14-0, but it was 21-7 at one point.
21-7. So we're down 14. But then like I said, it's college football. 14 points is nothing in college football.
Nothing.
So I think we went right up the field and scored, and we got to stop and went right back up the field and scored. So it was tied like right away. No big deal. But the problem that I had with the entire game is it felt like every scoring drive, it was like you had to like clench your fist because it was like something that was close to happening, almost happening. And so it just had that feeling of the old school, like all the Georgia, this is what's about to happen right now. Like they're gonna turn this ball over. They're gonna fumble this ball. It was.
Yeah.
I didn't get to enjoy the game. I didn't get to enjoy the game. So I hate watching.
And
games
it's funny
like
because
I would have felt better if the team played their best game, and I felt like it was just like blow for blow for blow. I felt like it was just a horrible game by Georgia, and we found a way to win at the end. So
and see me,
I didn't get to enjoy the game.
This is me personally. Now I know the feeling because later on when you watch the game back, you be like, yeah, this is the type of game I like to see. But during the moment, man, you hate that type of game. Like we always say, we want to see a good game. We don't want to see, as fans, we really don't want to see a good game. We want to see our team just straight dominate and blow them out. That's what we really want to see. But during the moment, you be like, oh, but after the game, you be like, that was a good game. This is me personally. I thought Georgia played well. I thought that Ohio State played like they had 4 and 5 star receivers like they do. You know what I'm saying? To me, that game looked like a future NFL game. That's all it was to me. Like a whole bunch of future NFL players in the game. To me, that's what I thought it was. I thought Georgia played well. It's just the level of competition was up more than, you know what I'm saying, than usual for both teams. I just think everybody played up to the level of the competition.
And I thought the opposite. I did not think we played well because we watched the game. We are primarily a man-to-man dominant team. And you'll see when we were playing on defense, we were doing a lot of like defenses where it was like zone with man principles or man with some zone principles in it. And that's not how you beat them because what they were doing is they were playing off of the receivers, trying to force the receivers, either on the inside or the outside per se, right? But with those receivers, they run the entire route tree. They run everything. So when you give them that type of leverage, you're just basically giving them a free run on what they want to do because they run NFL style routes. Like they're not a traditional college receiver route running where like, for example, right? Let's take last year Ohio State team that had I'm sorry the team at Justin Fields. You knew Justin Fields was restricted on his ability to like make certain reads, so therefore you had to restrict your receivers on the routes they can run. You simplify it all. You cut the field in half. You say if that read is there, you run. You simplify it. But with CJ Stroud the entire field. So what it does is it opens up the tree for every single receiver. And what people don't realize is their top 3 receiver and Jigma when he's in playing, top 3 receivers can run every single route top to bottom. And so that's what you saw. You saw the thing that Georgia has struggled with all year, which is when they get receivers who can run the full route tree, they cannot guard them. They can't guard them. And we weren't able to hide it. Every time, we got some pressure, CJ Stroud stepped up in the pocket or rolled out and bought himself a little extra time. Like when you have plays like that, you have to tip your hat at that point. That's he had to do to make a play. But when you have the moments where, the receivers are just straight up annihilated, like they were just working them, so I felt like Georgia played their worst game all year and we still won. That's how I felt. This is the worst game we played all year and still managed to win the game because we did not run the ball. We refused to run the ball. And State decided to do exactly which is play zone so that they can keep all eyes forward and Stetson Bennett to make plays. Don't let him run around, make him make plays. And a couple of plays that he almost interceptions, which he ended up throwing one interception he threw when he was throwing to Kenny McIntosh. I felt like McIntosh's fault, and that's just on me because it looks like I think McIntosh was gonna bend in, but it looked like he kind of faked inward and then went out because the defender had outside leverage, so that would mean for him on the inside. But I felt like other than that, Stetson almost made a bad pull on that bad read to me on that one. The first drive, I think, when he should have gave it to Kenny. I felt like which is I think he was throwing it to Ladd or someone, and he threw it kind of high and then almost got. It was a couple plays I said like where he was just when you play a zone like that, he can make those plays. Obviously, he still won the game. He can make those plays. If you're going to try to beat Georgia, you beat them, forcing Stet to be what he is not, which is a precise, consistent and it almost pulled it off.
Yeah, I agree. So you just explained one of my questions. How did you feel about Georgia play overall? We just went over that. So I'm gonna go to this point of the game. The timeout called by Kirby Smart. To me, it was the culture move of the year. To me, that was a culture move of the year. Do you think that saves Georgia's season?
That saved the game. So, I don't know. I don't know if it was his call because I know how in college football, man, they got a million people talking in those headphones. I'm not sure if somebody saw it and told him to call. I'm not sure if a player seen it and told him to call it. I'm not sure if he seen something and called it. I'm just glad that he called it because they converted it, and that would have easily ran off another 3 to 5 minutes of the game, depending on how that drive, easily 3 to 5 minutes. If not worse, because at that point you would have just demoralized the defense. They just got to stop. But that call single-handedly that saved the game. That's the reason why we're in a national championship game right now. It's because he made that timeout call.
Stephen Hicks, King Brian, man, thank y'all for tuning in. Stephen Hicks, Go Dogs, King Brian, Roll Tide. King Brian, Go Dogs, Stephen Hicks, Roll Tide. So what I thought about that's the key of a championship team right there, because whoever seen it, was it Kirby, a player, somebody in the headset, whoever it was, that's the key to a championship team, because you was prepared enough to notice that wasn't the same look. And when you noticed it, you called the time. So that's the key of a championship team, because good players can get you to the playoff, but great coaching is going to win you a championship. Great coaching is going to win you a national championship in the end. And that was key. And I gave props to Kirby, because in my mind that's who I seen it. But whoever was, I give props to that Georgia staff, because they noticed it and they was prepared. you got to do film study. You really have to be in the film to notice that stuff. You really have to be in the film to
Yeah.
notice that stuff. And I'm gonna say this to Ohio State. It was a bold move, but I feel like y'all could have did that in the same formation. Y'all could have skipped some price wise. You got to make it look the same. You can make it look obvious because evidently, if they noticed it, it was obvious. So in the future, Ohio State, hey, work on something like that. Work on keeping it the
And
same, but
then
don't want to do something different.
yeah, and then me personally, and the way I felt about it is because what was it like 4th and 1 or something like that?
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
far. I felt
yeah.
like the way that Ohio State offense had been playing all day, you leave
That,
the offense on the field.
yes,
Don't even put
yes.
special teams
Don't even.
there. You say,
Yep,
you
yep.
know what? Until they prove to us that they can consistently stop you, stay out there. If I'm going to go for it anyway, I would have left the
Mm-hmm.
offense out there,
Me too.
and I would have took my chance with the offense. But as far as that question and that call, man, that oh my god, and then of course for us watching the game, you don't realize the timeout was called right away. You just saw the play happening, and then you realize the timeout was called. So my
Mm-hmm.
initial reaction was like, oh my god, I cannot believe they just got this damn first down. And then I was like, oh they stopping the play, so my reaction instantly changed. But it is, man, that was such a clutch call, such a clutch call. It
Yeah,
really was.
I'm gonna tell you another one. Before I say what I'm about to say, it's so funny how that when the playoffs and bowl season come, we be like, we all SEC. But truly, as Bama fans, when we seen it was possibly happening, we were like, oh, come on, Ohio State, come on, Ohio State. But I'm gonna tell you the one play that I know it was Brock Bowers when he was going out of bounds and initially they didn't give it to him. I think I had went and plugged my phone up. Then I was like, oh snap, oh snap. Before I came back, my wife said they gave it to him. I was like, no, they didn't do that. They can't do
Yeah.
that. I was like,
That was,
wow.
I don't know what happened, but that was not a first down. At least from what I saw.
I ain't think
I
so
did not
neither.
see I didn't see
I didn't think so
anything.
neither.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that said that was a first down. And then the way they explained it, they said something like he reached and got it before he would land that. So I guess as long as his arm or whatever wasn't down, I guess since he was still reaching for it, that's why he got it. So I guess in that context, I guess it was a first down. But I thought, and I would have to look this up, but I thought in college that once they crossed the out of bound line, that's where the ball stopped at. Is that not true?
That's what I thought, man. That's what I. That's why I ain't
No.
think he got it because that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
clearly thought the tip of the ball was out of bounds, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't.
So I'm gonna ask you about a
Hey
play before
man.
I get in.
Uh-huh.
So they hit the Marvin Harrison Jr.
Legal.
Me personally,
Legal.
I didn't think it was targeting the knee. I thought it was just an old school football. Hey, that man knocked the snot out you. That what happened.
He hit
But
him hard.
I will say this. I will say this. We all see that the game plans for Georgia to take the key wide receiver out of the game so they gonna win. But
Oh, we moving on now. Hey man, the way I feel about it, man, is it ain't our fault that these teams ain't got the rest of their team rated, that they only
yeah,
playing with one receiver. And so
and see, that's what my thing is. I'm gonna talk about later on, like, cause we're gonna about TCU. You won't get to it. So one of the things I like to ask before games like this, where's what are some of your key matchups? Key matchups for this game.
uh, so I think it's gonna
But
be pretty much the same as it was last week, but I think the matchup is gonna be a lot better. And it's gonna be wide receiver versus Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo. I swear this guy, man, he stresses me out. But I
That's
think it's
my
going to be a
yeah.
better matchup. Yeah, a better matchup this week because remember I told you Keely and the corners struggle versus route tree receivers, the ones who can open up the tree. To me at least, TCU has those old school like college receivers where I'm going to run a go route and just jump higher than you. I'm going to run a bubble screen and just try to maneuver my way through a bunch of missed tackles. That's what Georgia cornerbacks thrive at. Like they will demolish your traditional college receivers. It's the receivers that they're tall, but they can still run. They can push the field, but then stop on a curl or something like that. I think those are the receivers that they struggle with. And me personally, I don't feel like TCU has those type of receivers that can match up against Georgia corner. So I think that's the key matchup to watch. If TCU's receivers can somehow come out and find a little bit of Ohio State magic, we're gonna have some problems. But if they are who they are, which from what I've seen, they just have your really big receivers that get a bunch of yard after the catch, and we don't give yards after the catch. We tackle really well. So we'll see though. We'll see.
And so that was mine. It was Quentin Justin versus, but I had Georgia secondary as a whole because
Hmm.
I see them probably trying to move Quentin Justin around because he the best receiver. They have some receivers, they have good receivers, but they're like you said, they're not on Ohio State caliber. And
Yeah.
if you go back and look at the past games, even last game, back to the SEC championship last year, it's always been two receivers. It's always been two receivers. The other receiver that's going to step up when this receiver is not being targeted. And
Yeah.
my question is to TCU, who is going to be that receiver? Y'all have plenty of people that caught touchdown passes this year, sure enough, but they're not those caliber of receivers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Monday they can come out and show something different. I don't know, but
Mhm.
who's going to be the wide receiver for TCU to be
Yeah.
the counter to Quentin Justin? That's what I want to know. But that was my man. That was mine too.
Does does
Quentin
Quentin
Justin.
does Quentin
Yeah.
play any other receiver spot other than the outside? Does he play in the slots?
I, I I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I
I don't recall seeing him ever in like the
and,
slot.
and
So
those
I
yeah,
think he
and that's why
always
I said I
plays.
don't think so. But in my mind, for them to have a chance with him, I think that's. I don't know if he can. I'm pretty sure if he a talented receiver, he should be able to. I believe they're gonna have to move him around the field, man. Like find the weakest spot of the field. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know, man.
But the thing is though is it's not necessarily him being talented. The issue is even some of the most talented receivers can't play those slot positions because
That's true.
it's about leverage when it comes to playing in the slot. You
That's
have
true.
to understand how to read your defenders leverage correctly. So when you're on the outside, it's either he's playing outside leverage or inside leverage, and that's it. You go, you run your route, you do what you're supposed to do, or you just typically the outside guys are your bigger guys. You're 6'5", 6'4", 6'6", and so you kind of pretty much are using more of your physical ability to just I'm just gonna outbeat you. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
out athlete you basically. When you play in the slots, it is being able to instantly understand what it is that your quarterback is understanding with that defender and what you're understanding, and you guys got to be on the same page. That's why you've seen receivers like a Julian Elderman and even like Kears Jackson, even
Yeah.
Smith when he was with Alabama.
Hmm.
That's why they always small, quicker guys, because if you small and quick, and as soon as you notice that they misstep to the right or left, if you can instantly react to it and go where you're supposed to be, you just gave yourself a 3-yard
Yeah.
cushion because they're
Yeah.
trailing now. And I just don't think that he plays like
Because he
that.
a big, yeah, he a big body dude.
Do.
He like to go, yeah,
Yeah, he's a big
yeah.
dude. So that's why I don't think he's as much of a threat, because when you got receivers like the Ohio State receivers, they line up everywhere. So
Hmm.
you don't know who's going to be on who each play. And with Georgia, we don't follow our quarterbacks around. So they
Corner,
stay
yeah,
stay on their side of the field. So you can almost, when you have the type of receivers like Ohio State, you could almost game plan exactly for who's going to be on who, depending on how you line up, because Stark ain't going to move, Keely ain't going to move, Buller isn't not going to move. They're going to be on that side of the field, so you know exactly what you need to do to run against that.
Yeah,
and I don't think TCU poses that same threat. I feel like Quentin might move to the far right or the far left, but I don't foresee him being in any slots. And I guarantee if he plays any form of a slot, it's going to be a call. It's going to be a tail sign for them. They're going to know instantly something is up with this, because they're going to try to go to him because he's in that slot.
My man Ray Wilkes said TCU about to shock the world. Hey, let me tell you about Ray Wilkes real quick. Ray Wilkes. He is from Columbus, Georgia, but he's not a college football fan.
I mean, he probably went to like Columbus High School or something.
He went to I think he went to Kendrick. I forgot Kendrick or Hardaway. I forgot one of them schools.
It's probably Kendrick. It's probably Kendrick. You probably went to one of those schools that didn't give you much hope.
That's so funny. That is funny.
He knew his football season was over before the season started.
And it's so funny that he about to say, he the same age as my brother, but it's so funny we had the same high school football coach. I don't know if you're familiar with Oliver Davis in the area. Yeah, but he was garbage. He made it to the league though. But he was a garbage football coach. Hey Robin, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in this morning. Yeah. Ray Will said he always go with the underdog.
Yeah. To me,
he say
it's just one of those things. When you go with the underdog, you can always say, I told you so whenever you're right. That's what that is. It ain't no special sauce that he got. He just, if I always go with the underdog when I win, I can always say I told you so.
Nah. He said he went to Kendrick. I knew it one on Kendrick.
He was.
Oh boy. But yeah. So I'm gonna tell you my next X factor. I want to see Stetson Bennett against that 3-3-5 defense as a whole. What's your thoughts?
I don't think that's going to be necessarily an issue, because I don't feel like it needs to be geared around Stetson Bennett, and I keep saying that, and I cannot stress this enough. The focal point does not need to be Stetson Bennett. I don't think that 3-3-5. It's nothing special. It's nothing new that anyone hasn't ran before. But the thing is, it is geared towards stopping the pass. That's the whole concept of it. We're gonna run 5 defenders, so then that way we always got enough defenders to play, on coverage. My X factors was basically the offensive coordinator versus TCU's defense. Are you so fixated, Todd Monken, on proving that you're going to throw the ball that you refuse to just run it? Like, again, same situation as last week. Michigan showed that you can run the ball and beat TCU down. TCU could not stop Michigan from running the ball. And every time TCU decided to step up in the box, Michigan would play action and just kill them over the top. You cannot maintain stopping the run. And this has been all college. This has been all NFL. Every form of football I've ever watched. When someone runs the 3-3-5 defense on a consistent basis, you cannot maintain it long enough against a running team. Like you get worn out, because those linebackers are not built to take on, not nose guards, guards and tackles.
Yep.
It's not built for that. That 3-3-5 is perfect for the Big 12, and it's perfect for a team like Ohio State and Michigan who wants to try to throw the ball all over the field, or like a USC or Oregon, teams that want to just toss the ball around on game long. It's perfect for that. If Georgia runs the damn ball, there will be no issues. They will be able to. And as a matter of fact, a primary example is when Georgia played Cincinnati in the playoffs. Not playoffs, I'm sorry. It was a bowl game. We played Cincinnati. Cincinnati ran the 3-3-5.
Yep.
And so it's the same concept. We played against that defense
Matter
before.
of fact, when y'all played Arkansas last year, they ran a 3-5, and
They ran a
y'all ate that up.
You just gotta run the ball. It's a simple. The problem is that it gets very frustrating because if they can go all out and stop you on that first down play, your initial reaction is you want to try to throw it on the second and third down, which leads right into their hand. But me personally, I say you run 2 tight ends, you bring depth out there, and you obviously Brock, and you run 2 tight ends, and you punch them in the mouth, and you force them to play a defense that they ain't played all year. If y'all want to come out here, we're gonna drive you straight up the field.
Hey, so I got some points, and I was gonna save them for the end of the show, but as we talk about it, I'm gonna bring up my points. The reason why I say that, you basically was saying what I'm about to say. If if TCU can get Georgia in obvious passing situation, that's when you can start seeing what the 3-3-5 is effective. But I don't see them doing that in the concept because, like you said, basically second down and third is gonna be critical. Second and sixes, second and fives, third and fours, third and threes, they're gonna be critical because if Georgia can stay out of obvious pass situations, they can control the tempo of the game, run the ball, power game, quick game, whatever they want to do, whatever Georgia wants to do, they can do it if they stay out of the obvious pass situations. Now, obvious passing situations are going to lead to now Stetson Bennett has to throw into this 3-3-5 defense, into the 3 safeties and 2 cornerbacks, and that's the game TCU should want to play against Georgia. But like you said, linebackers are not built to be trying to take on guards and tackles as a block because let's go back to the first game of the Fiesta Bowl. What Michigan do? Michigan, boom, bumped out, touchdown, because linebackers came down here really fast, which in a 3-3-5 defense they have to react fast. But guess who was there? That big guard was there. Boom, that running back slid right between them and took it to the house. First play, and I think that's what Georgia's gonna do all game. I think that's what they're gonna do all game.
I hope so, but they didn't do it against Ohio State. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
facts. That's facts. That's facts.
I don't know why, man, but I just know I feel like we're probably going to see a lot more. If you're going to play a 3-3 predominantly man, what you're doing now is if you let Stetson Bennett, run the ball, you're now going to have a 5-man box versus 4. Because if you can spread the field per se, right? Because they're always going to line a corner or safety up on Brock. If you can either A, motion the running back out the backfield, or B, have the running back run up the middle and help block, you're going to outnumber them if you're Georgia. You're going to have a 5-man line versus 4 theirs, plus Bennett will be number 6. So I think the key would be Todd Monken, man. That's the key to me. Todd Monken has to be dedicated to running the ball. He has to be. He has to go. He has to treat almost Stetson Bennett like he's the Stetson Bennett when he first took over. Like, hey, we're going to run it a lot, and then we're going to play action off all this running. And if he does that, man, the game is going to be boring if he does that. People are going to be like, oh, my God, like, I don't want to see no 10-3 game at halftime. Or people don't want to see that. People want to see what the Ohio State game was 21-21, 28-21 at half. They want to see the crazy numbers. But if he wants to win that national championship, he's gonna have to go old school Georgia football because the game is literally set up. It's set up
man.
to run the ball.
Run the ball. And we like you said, that's for those other conferences. SEC, we built to destroy the 3-3-5 defense, like because we have the interior players, we have the linemen, we have it all in the SEC, and that is too much to me. That is going to be too much. Chris, thank you for tuning in this morning, sir. But I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
But my next one was what them 2 dudes' name? I can't remember their name right now. I want to remember, but Dumar and the other guy. But the two linebackers versus Max Duggan, how are they gonna be able to contain him?
Uh,
That's my matchups.
are you talking about Mikhail?
Not Mikel. He on the edge mostly.
Yeah.
It's somebody. It's Dumar. One of I can't remember them, but Georgia
Mhm.
linebackers. I'm gonna just say Georgia linebackers as a whole.
So I think speed wise, I think they're gonna be fine. They can run sideline to sideline faster than Duggan or Dugan, however you say his name. Um, they're not gonna have an issue with chasing him down. The issue is gonna be once they get there, are they gonna be able to bring him down? Like, are they gonna be able to bring him down on the,
Yeah,
cannot let him extend the plays. Like I said, their receivers are not built to just beat Georgia's corners. Their receivers are built where you're adjusting the defense trying to avoid the quarterback from running, so you're leaving holes, or B, you're playing your typical man-to-man and they're not making those initial tackles on him. So he's breaking off, should be 2 yard gain, should be, sack for one, -1, and he's breaking those off into, 8, 15, 25 yard runs when they should have only been maybe 2 3 yard runs. So I watched because obviously I'm out here in Dallas, Texas. So I watched a couple of the
yeah,
TCU games. I've been to a couple of TCU games, and
mm,
so from what I've watched and seen from him is you'll have a situation where it's like 2nd and 8 per se, and this guy won't have anything open. He rolls to the
mm,
left. There's somebody there to take him to make it 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7.
yeah,
He always breaks that initial tackle, and then now you have 3rd and 1, or he gets the first down. If Georgia can, if which I think Dumars going to do his thing, but if you can tackle him like you're supposed to and have that 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 like you're supposed to, then you plan until your strengths at that point, because
yes, yes.
you're not allowing him to basically create on the field as he runs around.
I I feel like you kind of cheated off my test a little
I cheat
because
up.
we like hitting on the same. Because we like hitting on the same point. Because I said my thing with him is, can you contain him? How do you contain him? Is and keep him from stop him from improvising. What I mean by missed tackles when the play breaks down, and him doing all that extending plays and him keeping his eyes downfield.
Mhm.
Like you're gonna have to stop him from missed tackles, like you said, missed tackles and all that. And if he does, that's when you start seeing the cornerbacks from Georgia start breaking down because
Mhm.
Quinn Judge, a good receiver, like I said, he a good receiver. But when the play breaks down, it's already hard enough to guard a defender for 3 seconds, let alone 5, 6, 7 seconds. Now you're gonna start
Yeah.
seeing Georgia secondary breakdown, and that's when the receivers gonna work. But yes, I agree. I agree with that, Max Duggan. And my thing, I think, do y'all think y'all need to put a spy on him? A spy.
So, so Kirby has been an advocate of he doesn't
Yeah.
believe
Uh huh.
in or like the spy. Like he's been like that
Yeah.
since he was at Alabama. He does incorporate it here and there, but his philosophy is he rather do like some kind of almost like that mush rush,
Yeah.
where he just wants to push the pocket towards you and force you into a direction and then have everybody react to that direction. So me
Hmm.
personally, I like the idea of forcing Max to the short side of the field,
Okay.
forcing whatever the short side
Sound
of the
good.
field. And I know initially it's gonna be initially it might be successful initially. Then obviously, like these coaches do, they make adjustments at halftime and during the game, right? I think when you initially game, whatever the short side of the field is, you bring whomever from that far side of the field to force him to the short side. Because then that way you have shorter ground to cover, you have less to worry about, you have less to work for him to work in his magic per se, his magic in.
Yeah.
And then as the game go on, if you have to adjust, you adjust as you go. But initially, it needs to be push him towards that short sideline, so then that way you can use the sideline in your favor.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, you gotta. He's gonna be the key, man. I don't think that
Yeah.
offense can beat us straight up. It's gonna
Straight up. I
be
mean,
if he's getting out of there and he's acting a fool and he's making it where he's constantly breaking tackles and he's getting the ball at the field. I think Kirby might be forced to run a spy at that
yeah.
point.
Cause me personally, I think he's gonna be like you say, he's gonna be key to making that offense click because he can improvise pretty well. Like you said, people miss a lot of tackles on. He a big dude. He's just a foot. When I think about Max Duggan, it's nothing. If you ask me what do I like about him, it's no. He's just a football player. I really couldn't tell you what I like about him. He's just a football player. He gonna give it his all. So
I think the thing people like about him is the same thing they like about Stetson. He's like the Stetson 2.0.
yes, yes,
He's the
yes, yes.
guy. Yeah, he's the guy who he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be starring. He shouldn't be on the field. And the reason why a lot of us can relate to that story is because that's the overwhelming majority of college athletes. Everybody they think that college athletes is
Hmm.
Trevor Lawrence or Justin Field,
Yes. Yep.
or they think it's Reggie Bush. Like, no, that's like the 1% of the college athletes. Like, those guys are just like the dude.
Hmm.
The other 99% of them slash us slash future players, they are
Hmm.
constantly being told your position is up for sale.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
if you play a bad game this week, you might not be playing next week.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of that guy came into the season. He was told he wasn't good enough to start. He was supposed to be the backup all year. He came in due to injury. Same thing as Stetson Bennett.
Yep.
Came
Yep.
in due to injury. And because he refused to quit, because he was originally going to go into the transfer portal and leave TCU. He was originally supposed to be leaving TCU. But he stuck around, stuck to it, ended up getting the opportunity to start and never looked back. And so, I mean, it might, I never even thought about this, but a key battle might end up being who's gonna be the better Stetson Bennett.
Facts. Hey,
Hey,
that's facts. That's
hey,
facts.
his
That's
matchup might
facts.
be like, hey, I show up for big games, you show up for big
Quarterback versus
games.
quarterback.
This is a big game. Who's gonna be willing to who can will their team to victory? Or is it Max? Or is he gonna will his team more because it's fresher for him and he needs it? Or is Stetson still trying to prove that he can will the team to a victory? I mean, and then Stetson like 40 years old, but still.
Yeah, his son enrolling next season.
You
His
got
son
grandkids.
coming next season.
You got
Yeah.
grandkids that's coming to Georgia soon. So
I was like, is that Stetson from kindergarten? No, I was like, that has to be the same Stetson from my kindergarten class. Same dude. Hey, so I'm gonna ask you this: Who's the best? Who do you think has the best quarterback?
Georgia, I think it's Stetson
Okay,
Bennett. It's
okay.
Stetson, man. I think the bet the so the they say they always say for with every positive there's a negative, right?
Hmm.
So I think the positive is they open up that playbook for Stetson Bennett. They trust him now. They let him
Yeah.
run that business now. He's not so one dimensional as he used to be, where he looked so indecisive. He looked so like he was afraid that he was gonna do something wrong. Like you could tell like last year he played with the mindset of I'm afraid that I might lose my job, versus this year he plays like I'm that dude now. They trust me, they're gonna follow me. I'm the dude, like I'm gonna lead us to the
Yeah.
promised land. Obviously, the negative to that is sometimes when you get people a little bit confident, man, they go a little crazy with it. So
Yeah.
sometimes he look like he be trying to find his inner Johnny Manziel. He look like he be trying to find his inner Baker Mayfield, and he be want to throw the
That's
ball
so
away to the
funny.
wrong team.
That's so
So,
funny.
but I mean, he shows up for big games, man. He always do. He always show up for big games. And so I think that he is the better quarterback because he has been here before. He knows how this week is going to go. He's know how these practices are going to go. This is his third national championship he's going to, so he knows what the media day is going to be like. He knows how the questions are going to come down. He knows how the practice routine is going to go, how the meal prep. He's seen this multiple times, and so his routine should be roughly the same.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Georgia, what was the year we played and lost to Alabama? Was it 2008,
2017.
17? So if you remember, Georgia has done this trip before. We went to California and
Yep.
then flew out to Georgia and lost. Well, this year we actually did the opposite. We're going from Georgia and flying to California. So, they reversed the fortune this time. Since we came from Cali to Georgia, we lost. But since we're going to go from Georgia to Cali, we're going to win it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I think overall Stetson is the better guy because of his experience level. So
I agree. So another thing I like to do, I forgot to send this to you. I just thought about it this morning. X factors. X factors. When I mean X factors, who's the dude that we don't always talk about that can probably play a part, be the hero, they end up being the unsung hero of the game. And my first one is Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp. I think he can come in. Yeah, I think he can come in because Washington is still uncertain, right? And even if he do come back, he's not playing.
He's not gonna play.
Yeah, and this is why I say I think Oscar Delp going to step up and be a big part of what Georgia does, and that he can help them win the game, help them come out and win the game.
Yeah, and then, a lot of people don't realize either, man. The problem with Delp, and the reason why Delp hasn't played so much is because Delp is basically like a baby Brock Bowers. He's Brock Bowers. So the reason why that's why they don't have him on the field is because they wanted that combination of having Darnell, which is basically a tackle
heavy
playing tight
dude,
end.
somebody get extra blocker. Yep.
Yeah, then another tight end that you don't know if he's out there to block or to run routes when you got Brock. So when you have that combination, it puts a stress on the defense because the defense have to then say, are we going out there to play against the run or are we going out there to play against the pass?
Yeah,
because
keep them guessing.
Because no matter what they're running, they can run those same two tight ends. They can either run the ball or pass the ball with those two tight ends. Unfortunately, with Delp he's a little smaller. So I haven't seen it yet. So this is just me just trying to think as a football player. With him being smaller, you can almost in your mind game plan towards either A, they're going to run away from Delp, or B, they're gonna gear it towards maybe passing the ball more when Delp is on the field. But it's remained to be seen. I haven't seen it. I've never seen Delp and Brock on the field without Darnell or some combination of that, right? But my mind would say that they will either A, run away from Delp, or B, is more geared towards some kind of draw or pass play. But I mean, the way Kirby now coach, they got him out there. They're gonna tell him, no, you out here to play ball, bro. You going out here to block. We ain't changing nothing. Go do your job, right? But my X factor is the TCU running backs. Can you guys run the ball against Georgia? Like it's that simple.
It's so funny. So that was one of my I forgot the Mardo the Cardo, I forgot because I think one of them running backs are questionable. But last week the other running back, he had like 100 and some yards. He broke off big, and yeah, he was one of my X factors too. But you can go ahead. Why you got him for?
Because Georgia, man, because TCU is not, they can't just throw the ball around on Georgia.
Yeah,
you're not going to win like that. You cannot. You can't. The whole premises around Kirby Smart defense is traditional old school NFL. Not Nick Saban, but Bill Belichick mindset. I want to make you one dimensional, and then once I make you one dimensional, I now can predict everything you're going to do. And then once I can do that, I'm gonna put you in a situation to keep putting you in these long situations where you have to either take risks or you have to get rid of the ball, and then you're gonna punt us the ball. Georgia is not big on turnovers, and a lot of people always like, even friends and other fans that ask me and talk to me, they always say like, why don't Georgia get a bunch of interceptions or fumbles? And I'm like, our defense is not built for that. Our defense is built to keep everything in front of you and not give up these huge, crazy plays, even though sometimes we do, is keep everything in front of you and make you slowly work the ball down the field. Because if we can slow you down, it gives our defensive lineman time to, get you in those very favorable for our defense situations, So I think that's where the key is going to be is, can those running backs do enough on the field to force Georgia to have to think, are they going to run the ball or are they going to pass? Do you have to at least put that hesitation in their mind of, are they going to run the ball or not? Because if you don't, man, it's bad.
Yeah, I agree. It was funny because it was that one running back in particular, but yes, the running back group as a whole that's gonna be crew. My second one is TCU safety Miller Bradford. The reason why, because you gonna hit. I've been talking about this 3-5 all week. 3-5, man. You with Georgia, with the way I think they should run the ball against that, they're gonna need a lot of help from their safety play. They're gonna need a lot of help from, because they're gonna have to have somebody behind them linebackers to recover, and he's one of the dudes I got as my X factor, because he's gonna have to help stopping the run, stopping that big run, which is gonna be hard to do, and he gonna have uh, help with these tight ends, help covering these tight ends. So I think he's gonna be asked for. He gonna have to be a big part in stopping this bleed that's about to happen. Because I think it's about to happen, but we don't know. But he gonna have to be a big part in this game. He
Yeah.
gonna have to be a big part for their defense. So that's who I got as my X factor for that reason.
And I think that's a good pick. I think for me it would be the communication between the tackle and guard for Georgia, because
Yeah.
the trick with the 3-3-5 isn't necessarily that they're running basically, in a sense, 6 or 7, I guess you're gonna say 7 smaller people, because like their defensive linemen aren't very huge. They
Nope.
run, it's like the key is the linebackers always send some kind of, they always are delayed. So in a sense, they technically always are rushing 4. If
Mhm.
you pay attention, they are technically
Mhm.
rushing 4. It starts off as a 3, and then once you commit to however you're going to block, they send an additional linebacker in. That's where I think they gave Michigan problems, is once Michigan offensive linemen committed to who they were going to block, they would send a linebacker into that open hole. And then at that point, the line is already spread out enough where they're creating that, that cone, and then you leaving that opening that typically a quarterback wants to step up in that opening to throw the
Mhm.
ball. Or, in Stetson, or I forgot the Michigan's quarterback name.
McCaffrey.
McCap, yeah. In their situations, they want to either step up in that hole to run, or they want to step up in that hole to pass. But with that 3-3-5, what happens is once it opens and they go to step up in that hole, that's where they fill in with that linebacker, because at that
Yep.
point now the offensive lineman has already committed to block, either double blocking that nose or
Mhm.
double blocking. So I think the communication between the guard, the guard center,
Mhm.
the 2 guards in center. Because once that nose guard go right or left, are you going to continuously commit 2 people to him, or are you going to understand that once that nose guard go right or left, that y'all need to pass him off and be waiting for that linebacker to come and fill that gap?
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. I gotta block this person real quick. But yeah, that's key. That's key, and it's gonna be like you said with them, and it's gonna be key for the center to to know to know. You gonna point this out before the play is called, because I played center
Mhm.
too, and I can tell people, I said center ain't just hacking the ball. I said just like the quarterback got to know everything. I said the center gonna have to know too. The center got to know just as well. I said that's why you see the center. He get up to the line. He go to pointing stuff out, because center got to be very smart as well. So yeah, it's gonna be to notice. off the rip what's going on.
Yeah,
And
he's pointing out that the strong
yeah,
side. He's trying to let everybody know what's way the coverage. Well, not coverage, but the blocking scheme needs to be focused on and stuff. So, and
Robin
that's
asked
why
me,
I said.
Robin in chat asked me, "Who's your friend, Nick?" He's very knowledgeable and welcome. This friend of mine is actually my first cousin, and that's why he's on. That's why I've been having him on because I know he know. I know he know football. He loves Georgia football. Now he loves football overall. So
Yeah.
yes,
But yeah, like
but
I was saying, man, the key though is definitely the communication between the center and the two guards because, like I said, if you let those linebackers fill those holes, man, Stetson is going to have a problem. And the key is they always going to have that one linebacker directly across the middle where he can't just dump those passes across the middle because the initial. From what I've seen with TCU, their initial play is they want to cut off the slant routes because they want you to hold it for that extra second to let that line commit to what they're going to do. And then once you hold it for that extra second, and then that linebacker fills that gap, at that point, like any quarterback, you take your eyes down. You take your eyes down because at that point you see that your people aren't open. But you got to run the ball. Well, if you run the ball, we ain't got to worry about all this.
Yeah, facts. And my last X factor, because I had 4, but we knocked that one out when you brought up your X factor running back, Monkel Williams, boy from Columbus, Georgia.
Okay,
I think he can be a big factor because he gonna help with Max Duggan in the running, and then he gonna help, I think, too, also with stopping this run game, that stopping the run too. So I think he gonna come in and play a big factor in this game as well. Monkel Williams. I hope he shines just because he's from the area. I hope he go crazy. I know he going to the NFL. I know that.
Right. I think for this game, I think they're going to let. So we remember when I told you about them pushing him to the shorter side of the field. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what they're gonna use. They're gonna let Michael Williams do. They're gonna put him on the open side of the field, and they're gonna make him flush Max towards that shorter side. Because like the key is, like I said, if you put him in a situation where he doesn't have as much room to work, everybody knows that, man. Like in football in general, it's the same concept as when you're guarding with wide receivers. If you got the sideline, you use it as an extra defender. It's the same concept as once you're near the end zone, the back of the end zone is an extra defender. For Max, if you let him run to that open side of the field, so if the ball is on the right hash, if you let him run to that right, you just put the defense in a complete insane situation because now he's going to have you guys in a conflict of assignments. He's rolling out, and he can run. Do you leave your receiver to go up to try to stop him, or do you let that guy get a full steam ahead and make people make basically business decisions? Because Max is not a little dude; he's a big quarterback.
No, he a big dude. Yeah,
he's a big quarterback. So yeah, he's a big quarterback. But if you put him towards that shorter side of the field, what it then does is it allows the lineman to kind of shrink in that field a little bit. And now he has to make a quicker decision. Do I just go ahead and get a couple yards and get out of bounds? Or even if you was to leave your receiver, you're not allowing the receiver to have this whole side of the field open to still make a catch. He has to make a precise throw that's right there on the sideline. So I think Michael is going to come from that open side of the field and hopefully flush him towards that weaker side of the field.
Yeah. Yeah. Big. He gonna be a big key, I think, today. I hope he the unsung hero. I hope he make plays out the world today. Not today, but Monday. No, I love to see the local kids, what I'm saying, go to these big schools and actually get their shine on, instead of just going and being on the roster. That's great. That's great too that you even got that far, but actually making impact too, like Justin Ross, he was from Phoenix City, but it hurt my heart that year he torched us in the national championship, but I was happy to see it though. I was happy to see it. I was like, good job.
You gotta just accept it, man. You gotta accept it.
Yeah. The next question. So overall, what are you expecting from Georgia offense?
Uh, I was wrong last week, but I expect the same thing as I gave last week. It's run heavy, run heavy, run heavy. I expect the offense to give you a heavy dose of that three-headed monster at running back. Because you got to, you got to, um, you got to give them a steady dose, man. I think I expect each running back to have between 10 to 15 carries each. Like I'm talking heavy run dosage.
Yeah.
Because with that, what Michigan showed last week is when you come out there and your 10 personnel, like literally, I'm sorry, not 10, but 12 personnel,
Yeah.
that TCU cannot stop the run in the 12 personnel. And even with Georgia, you might even be able to come out in a 13 personnel. Probably without Darnell, you might not be able to. But I mean, we got enough tight ends on the team. You probably still might be able to pull it off.
And,
Um,
and the reason why, because the next question I said, do you think they try to get all three tight ends involved? And you told me Darnell was out earlier, so
I think
that's
he's
why I
done.
put that for a question, because that's what I was thinking. Along with what you was just about to say, that's what I was thinking. But like you
Well,
said, they got so many tight ends, they still gonna make it happen.
yeah, they haven't officially ruled him out yet. Kirby Smart
Yeah.
doing the Kirby Smart thing. He's like, oh, we hope to have him back, and he's gonna make progress. And he just the coach talk. He's saying that,
Yeah.
but everything that I've seen on like the Georgia websites, the Georgia podcast, like all the different stuff, that man ain't even looking at the field right now. Like
Yeah.
he's and it looked pretty bad last week. When he looked
You
like he
did.
could barely put any pressure on it.
And,
Um,
and,
yeah, I mean these guys
and see,
are
that's what I was thinking too. We all know from past football injuries, like anytime you end up in a walking boot,
yeah.
it ain't gonna be no easy, quick recovery just like you think it is. So that's what I was thinking too. But I
Yeah,
haven't heard. Yeah.
now I was about to say these guys, man, they some animals and they got access to treatment that none of us got
Mhm.
access to. So if they were to eventually say he's playing, because maybe he's gonna tape himself up enough where he feel like he can go out there and make some form of contribution, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mhm.
Because also you got to remember too. I know our mindset is as soon as we see a boot, we instantly just say boot means this. But you got to remember too. A lot of times now they just instantly put them in a boot for compression purposes and to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah. Yeah.
and to protect the foot or ankle from any kind of a further injury or somebody stepping on it or bump it or something like that. So I don't necessarily read too much into the boot situation.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. At the end of the day, man, I don't think he's gonna play. I
Yeah.
would love, as a Georgia fan, I would love for him to play because he's such a huge factor of our offense.
Mhm.
He
Even if you
allows,
just use them for blocking,
and people don't
just that.
understand the importance of having him in there where you can then call multiple plays out of the same formation
Same.
and the defense they can't depict what's going to happen because it does not change because he's on the field. It's if we're going to pass it, he can do it. If we're going to run it, he can do it. He can pass block, run block, he can
Mhm.
catch, like, so he's perfect. And then he's so huge that if you try to run it through like the 3-3-5 and you put a
He's
smaller
the
guy out
extra. He's the
there,
extra dude.
he's going to crush that dude.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
I hope he plays though.
So. So I'm finna ask this question: how much do you think the wide receiver can play? And the reason why I ask this because, like, we all expecting a heavy dosage to run, heavy dosage to run. Eventually you're gonna need some help with that run. So you have to bring them safeties up. And the reason why I say that because ask about the wide receivers because when they bring them safeties up, Kierris Jackson, AD Mitchell, Kierris Jackson, on that boy a speeding bullet. I
Yeah,
think when they bring them safeties up, the mailman will deliver to one of those wide receivers. I'm expecting two big plays out of the wide receivers. No particular one, just two big plays out of wide receiver because of the heavy dosage to run game, and it's going to allow them wide receivers to take the top off.
Yeah. No, and I'm not too heavy into the receivers. I honestly don't think we're gonna need them very much. I feel like it's gonna be one of those, like I said, boring games where you just need the receivers to move the chains. We're gonna run the ball, make it a 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, make it a 3rd and 4, 3 or 4, and then he might hit somebody in the middle or something, or 5 and out to get the chains moving. Maybe even run it a 3rd time, just to move the chain. And but this is me, man. I feel like Georgia needs to just consistently, slowly and methodically move the ball and just wear TCU down, because that defense is not built for long term. It's built for, and that's why if you notice all their games, why so many receivers get so many yards and points against them is because they want to speed it up. They want it to go fast. They want it to go fast. They want your defense to get tired, because now if your defense is constantly on the field, they just level the playing field now.
And guess what?
Tired as ours.
Guess what? If their defense on the field, Max Duggan on the sideline, and he can't do what he do.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you keep speeding it up, where everybody is tired on defense, now what you did with TCU is you evened the playing field. You just said, all right, Georgia, your offense might be able to score, but now your defense is so tired, we can score too. Now it's going to come down to, you're now playing our game, because we want you to throw the ball. We want you to speed up. We want you to go faster. We're playing a coverage where we're encouraging you to throw the ball. We want you to, so that we can try to get a turnover, versus you slowly moving the ball. Because again, those linebackers, man, you give them one full quarter of just punching them in the mouth, they're gonna be ready. Hey, coach, man, what's the first flight back to Fort Worth? We need to go home. All right, like this, we need to go back to Fort Worth.
It's so funny.
We're not built to play football like them Georgia boys. Let's go back to Texas, coach.
Hey, it's so funny. Like I said, I go back to earlier where I said I feel like you're copping out my paper, cheat on my test a little bit, because I was saying once you get even when you get TCU in all these past situations, you playing in the hands of that vicious defense now. Now Georgia guessing what you gonna do. And all that run around improvise stuff ain't gonna matter no more, because linebackers from Georgia, they fast and they gonna close in on Max Duggan real quick. Like just what I said, TCU offense, y'all better pack your lunch for that defense. Y'all gonna have to pack your lunch for that defense. Y'all, that, like, seriously, they're gonna have to do it, because you don't want Georgia you don't want to be predictable to Georgia's defense, because Kirby and Muschamp and the other Glenn over there, they're gonna eat that up. They're gonna eat that up all day.
I'm wondering if Muschamp now is gonna run. And I've seen them do this defense before, where it's almost like a modified 3-4, where they kind of they have it'll be Michael. Yeah, it'll be Michael. They'll have him on the end as if they're gonna rush him, as if it's a 4-3.
Yeah.
And as soon as they hike the ball, they basically split him back, and it's like almost like two spies, So they have him that kind of stays on the right side, and the other linebacker stays on that left side. And whatever way the quarterback rolls, that person shoots, and then the other person kind of rolls towards the middle. So I wonder if they're gonna run something like that, because then that way you always got a person that's geared towards cutting off that field for Max. Like, you're not trying to have one guy that's covering that entire side of the field. I don't know. We'll see, man. I think it'll be very interesting. I'm interested in seeing what they come up with initially, as far as like how to run that defense versus TCU. I think it's going to be it's definitely going to be something more towards I think maybe a modified spy. They're going to be a dedicated spy. It's going to be more like that. Like I said, the two people where they mirror him. He rolls left, they both roll left at the same time, type deal. So we'll see. I'm interested though.
Okay. TCU, they cause a lot of turnovers. Do you think, does that worry you a little bit? Because last game they created a lot of turnovers. They created some turnovers last week. Does that
No, I don't think it does. I think the problem is exactly what we've been talking about the whole time is you got teams that the writing is on the wall what they need to do, and they're trying to force their hand to do something else. Why was Michigan throwing the ball in some of those situations? Like it made no sense. Like every time you ran the ball, you were gashing TCU, like beyond like just absolutely gashing them. But then you continuously try to throw these passes that absolutely make no sense at all, right? Um, because when you're playing a 3-3-5, you're passing the ball, you're playing into the hand of the strength of the defense. That'll be like
Yes,
me coming out, that'll
yes.
be like me coming out in a nickel deep. No, that'll be like me coming out in a dime defense, and then you throw the ball against it. Why would you do that?
Hmm.
Like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna come out in a quarter defense, and you're gonna run two receivers and try to throw the ball. I got the whole entire field flooded with defenders. That makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Hmm.
Run the ball at that point. Run it, you know.
Done the
But
ball. Yep.
I don't think the turnovers will matter unless they are huge game shifting turnovers, like the TCU.
Yeah.
But those turnovers were touchdowns. Those weren't turnovers. They were scoring.
Sixes,
Like,
big six.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that means 14 of TCU points came from their defense and not their offense. That's a huge difference. You turn the ball over, say like Georgia, Georgia turned the ball over against Ohio State. To me, Ohio State offense is better than TCU, and
Hmm.
I think on those two turnovers they held them to 3 points on those. So if you hold, so like that's the key of a difference of a turnover that you're running back for a touchdown and a turnover that now you give your defense the opportunity to either get the ball back or to hold them or something. But as long as it's not some pick sixes or they're not just overly turning the ball over. I don't think it's gonna matter. You expect something to happen. A fumble's gonna
Yeah.
happen or intercept. It's a huge game. There's a reason why TCU is in the game. I
Hmm.
don't think they're gonna win. I don't think they're gonna win, but they're in the game for a reason. So therefore, you have to give them their due respect, which is
Yeah.
the numbers don't lie. The numbers say that they get turnovers. That means they should get a turnover. Now, how important is that turnover? To me, it'll be determined by what's the result of it. Are they going to run it back for a touchdown? Or are they stopping Georgia on the
Right.
goal line? Like, what game was that? That somebody fumbled on like the goal line or something like that. I think it might have been Georgia was
Mm.
playing them or something. Like those are key turnovers. Like those situations like
Yeah.
that. Getting a fumble or interception and it's 14-14, it's no big deal. You got a whole game
Hmm.
ahead of you at that point.
Yeah. So I'm asking the question: do you think TCU defense will post Georgia's offense? And I'm asking that because TCU last week they got to Michigan quarterback 4 times and they actually had 18 solo tackles. Do you think they can?
Mhm.
I know what you're saying all through this thing. Is
And,
there any? Do
and
you see
still gave up 40 points.
40 points? Yeah, me no, me no, but
That'll be a
okay.
hard no for me. Hard no. We did all of
All
that and
right.
gave up 40 points. Like, think about
40
it.
points exactly.
We didn't do no.
So how does Georgia defense attack the offense of TCU? And I ask this because I look back at the game when you start seeing that what TCU did last week, they put up a lot of points on them, and most people are like, dang, TCU just bullied Michigan. I don't think it was straight bullying. I think Gary Riley drew up a lot of misdirection of eye candy in his play. So it looked like it going this way, then they come over here this way. So
Mhm.
I feel like Georgia's defense is gonna have to be very disciplined, not to bite on the eye candy. Do I think they will? Heck yeah, I think they will. But how do y'all attack that offense to Georgia? I mean, TCU.
So I think and I hear everything you're saying. One,
Mm-hmm.
no, they did not bully Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I don't think it was no eye candy that beat Michigan. I think what it
Me neither.
was is they jumped on Michigan, and Michigan wasn't accustomed to being there. And what happened is
Yes.
Michigan did what you asked me about what would Georgia do at 14-0. You asked me,
Mm-hmm.
would Georgia change their game plan? And I said no.
And you didn't.
I
Yep.
think Michigan changed their game plan.
They
That was
panicked.
that was the
They
problem.
panicked.
They panicked. They panicked. They were like, "Holy crap, we don't supposed to be like this." The thing is with Georgia, the only thing they need to do with TCU is just play sound football. When they get the ball, just make the tackle. When
Yeah.
Max wants to run with the ball, just make the tackle. And what did I say
Yep.
earlier? I said TCU receivers are big on yards after catch. Max is
Oh, yeah.
big. Remember I talked about Max? I said his thing isn't that he runs. His thing is that they should have him in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6, but he breaks
Obvious
that tackle
passing.
and then
Mm-hmm.
it's a first down or he makes it 3rd and 1. Can you
Yep.
make that tackle to make it 3rd and 6 or 7?
Yep.
Just play
That's fact.
football. Just
Yep.
like what they teach. What they teach you in Pop Warner. Head up, see what you hit. That's
Yep.
it. It needs to
Why
be
you
that
put your
simple.
head down, son? Don't put your
Like,
head down. You can't see
that's
what
why.
you hit.
That's why you missed the tackle because you were looking at the ground. They just got to play sound football. Hit what you see what you hit. And when Max wants to roll out, just let him commit to what he's gonna do. Run,
Mm-hmm.
settle down, get your feet under you, let him commit, make the
Yep.
safe tackle, push him out of bounds if you got to, let him throw the ball away. But do not let him turn a potentially 3rd and 7 to a freaking 3rd and 1 or first down. Because then that's when the game becomes a problem at that
Yep.
point.
This one. Yep. And that's what I
First
said earlier. Keep. Even for Max Duggan, keep him in an obvious passing situation where all that breaking down of the plays and improvising it's not gonna matter because linebackers gonna close in fast on you. Like you said, let him do what he do. You just get to the spot and make the tackle.
yeah. See,
Cause
and I
when you
think a
miss
lot of
tackles,
times.
yep.
And I think a lot of times where people get mixed up with games like this, and this is why everyone continuously keeps saying Georgia should win, Georgia should win, Georgia should win. And I forgot which fighter it was. It might have been like what fighter? I think it was a fighter in UFC who said it, where it's like um, talent wins, but when talent trains hard or trains hard or whatnot, that they can't be beat or whatever. When you look face to face, man, Georgia versus TCU, Georgia has hands down the better team. They got the better
Yeah.
talent. They got the
Oh,
bigger, faster guys on every
matter of
part of the ball. From Go ahead.
ma- matter of fact, I seen somewhere TCU on the whole roster they don't have one 5-star versus Georgia has this many five
Probably like
stars.
30.
Yeah, versus 4 stars. Georgia got so many versus TCU only has so many. I'm like,
Yeah,
dang,
yeah, and that's the
dang.
thing. Like when it comes, so that's why teams like Georgia, Bama, Michigan, Ohio State,
Hmm.
Clemson, now it's about to be USC. It used to be Oklahoma. That's why you see teams like that are consistently be in the running or
Every year top 10.
because
Yep.
when you come out there, you have the better fighter, you have the better
Mm-hmm.
guys, you have the better gear, you have that, and then the coaching is what elevates you to the next level.
Yeah, yep.
So to me, right now, what it is Georgia is here and TCU is here, but
Hmm.
TCU coaching is bringing them here, and it's
Yes.
making them
Yes.
believe. Now, as long as Georgia does their job coaching, they should elevate the players high enough to win. But if you just put them out on the field, Georgia, they don't compare. They don't
Yeah.
compare,
Yeah. Yeah.
and no, they don't
And
compare.
that's why I go back to what I said. The reason why I say my personal opinion, I thought Georgia played well. Is just when you start looking at it on paper, 4 and 5 stars all across the board. That was a future NFL game to me.
Yeah,
It was the future Pro Bowl.
I feel like that was their worst game all season. I feel like if you looked at every game Georgia played this year, you would, and obviously it's different for me because I watched every game because I'm a Georgia
Yeah.
fan. So watching every game, that is hands down their worst performance that they had all season long, and they found a way to win the game.
I
And
don't.
to me, that it doesn't scare me, it doesn't make me afraid. It tells me that y'all are that good.
And listen, this is what I always say, especially about Bama. But I've been saying this about other teams. I said about Georgia last week. Real champions rise to the occasion. No matter what goes adversity, in the end, they will rise to the occasion.
Yeah, they figure out how
So,
to.
TCU wide receivers, do you any threat? And the reason why we talked about it a little bit, and the reason why I don't think they pose a threat because it's really just one. It's really just one. But I know how you feel about your best friend Keelan Ringo too at the same time.
I'm getting anxiety thinking about this right now.
But you sound like Alabama talking about anxiety, bro.
I'm getting anxiety thinking about Keely Ringo, man. I can't do this. I can't do this. Oh man. Do they pose a threat on one side? No. But if they're in front of Keely Ringo, they do.
And listen, with Keelan Ringo last week, that's all I was thinking about. I said, Varus hate this man. I said he don't like him, but after this game, he gonna hate Keelan Ringo. He hate Ringo is done. He is not getting invited to no wedding, no nothing.
Bro, nothing. The Keely Ringo will be the worst bodyguard ever because he doesn't guard anything, bro. Man. God.
Oh, bro, that's funny. That's funny, bro. That's all I was. I said, Varus, man. I said he hate this man. He can't stand this man right now.
I didn't even like it when they brought him in from what is it, Vegas or Arizona? I think it's from Vegas. Yeah, I didn't even like it. I was like, and I was kind of like, whatever, you know. I think
that. Hold on, this man is from Vegas.
He's from the West Coast. I think he's from Arizona or Vegas. I'll have to look it up. He's from the West though, because I know Darnell Washington's from out West too. So one of them
he's
from Arizona.
He's from Vegas. I know he's from Vegas.
Okay, so then Keely must be from Arizona then.
But the reason why it's okay with Darnell, cause he a specimen. This man shacking pads, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm gonna tell you this is my thought on West Coast players. If you want a quarterback,
I'm gonna look
go that way. But all the other, if quarterback, you can go that way. You might be able to find a good running back and a good receiver too out of there, but far as lines and all that type of stuff, I be like, man, y'all stay on the West Coast with that stuff, because down south folks, we built different. We built different, man.
Let me see. I'm gonna look him up. I'm gonna see where he's from. I'm telling you, I don't know where he's from, but I know it's from out west somewhere.
B. Jemmy said Arizona. B. Jemmy said Georgia's next year's schedule looks weak to me. Well, in my opinion, I thought it was weak this year, but hey, moving on.
Hey man, this is how I look at it, man. We can't all get those weak Alabama schedules every year. So when we get a chance, we take advantage of it. All right.
Oh boy.
You can't be playing
boy.
paper mache university like Alabama be playing.
I did what I said in the beginning of the season though. I said it's funny how we talk about cupcake games. I was like, in the end, I said we all be playing cupcake game. We all play it. I'm like, so what? I said in the end, what are we talking about? I said,
I mean, the last 2 years we opened up the season with Clemson and Oregon. I don't remember the last time I seen Alabama open the season up against any nationally ranked team.
Hey, but go back to when we did open up the season. Did it matter though?
Who you play?
We play USC. Man, we didn't play a lot of.
When the last time USC was good?
I mean, that's the argument I have about a lot of teams. But we opened up. I know the last at least 3 years. I know the last 3 years it ain't been that. Cause I think 1 year we opened up against Duke or somebody. I think it was Duke, and I was like, this is the second game of the season of media. It's another cupcake game. I
Yeah. Now they ended up changing our schedule for next year, and then I think the next 3 years. So we've been having Texas, Oklahoma, I think Clemson, and UCLA. Those are the 4 teams that we added on our schedule. And I think since they rolled them into our conference now, They changed it. They took them out or something like that. But I think next year we were supposed to have it might have been Texas or Oklahoma on the schedule or something like that. We were supposed to have them on the schedule, but it changed. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Texas second game in Alabama again this season. So do you think TCU can run the ball at least? Nah.
This game about to be bad, man. It's about to be the
Yeah,
old. It's about to be the old college
Ma-
playoff game where
Maul you
we
down.
kept telling everybody, man, why is this team in the playoffs? Like why why they this is why they shouldn't make it. I was actually going to ask you a question. Like, do you think it's better for college football for TCU to win or for Georgia to win?
I think for them, if they win, it's paint the narrative of college football different. I think it'll be good for college football, but I think it will be. I think it will be. Like honestly, I don't want to see TCU win. Like as a Bama fan, don't get me wrong. In the moment, if it happened, I'm going hi Georgia. Listen, man. Listen. I don't think that's gonna hold up, but I think it'll paint the narrative of college football that all the best teams always get the playoff championship. It'll get the smart
Yeah,
smart.
I
You
think
know.
what it does is if for some reason TCU can manage to win, is it validates their new playoff system. It shows them like, see, this is why we think it's
Yeah.
okay to have 8 or 12 teams, because
Mm-hmm.
even though you don't think that this team can beat this team, they can. That's why they play. Because at the end of the day, you gotta look at it, for what it is. Georgia and TCU can play 10 games. Georgia will more than likely win 9 out of those 10 games.
Yeah.
TCU just got to win one. They ain't got to win 9
One.
out of the 10. They ain't got to win 7 out of 10. They ain't got to win. They just got to win one. And if this one happened, that's all they need. That's all they need to prove their point, because at the end of the day, college football is about money.
Yeah.
It's about money. And if TCU can win, what it does is it, like I said, it continuously validates to them that college football doesn't start and finish in the South. College football is a national sport, because that's what they've been wanting to push and trying to push, is that it is a national sport and it's not a Southeast sport that everybody else just so happens. So that's what I think the benefit. I hate it if they were to win, because I think when Georgia wins, I'm a fan of like dominance. I like that narrative of you got to take out the dominant team, like when USC was
And
in with Miami,
and
Alabama,
see,
obviously.
I'm the same way. I really like to see how long can you do this. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's
Yep.
not my team, like how long can you do it? Because a lot of people didn't like the Patriots. I like what they
Yeah.
do. I like that. I want to see. Let's see how long this thing go. Like
Yeah.
even if this end up on Alabama side, which I think it's gonna get back on the side, but I'm still gonna be like, let's see, let's see how far this can go. Like let's see how far it can go. Cause when it come down to it, I really ain't no hater. I appreciate greatness. I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yep. Same
Let's.
thing.
I want to see you break the record. I want to see can you get there. Somebody
Yeah.
said Shaq and Pay. Laugh at what I said. The Shaq and Pass. Hey, B Jammer. I think B Jammer brought up a good point though. He said a weak schedule could be dangerous too if you end up dropping getting a loss in that. And I agree to that,
Mhm.
because sometimes a weak schedule. Uh, I would say this. It's us fans that really put that narrative out there. I don't think the players and them coaches go, this is a weak schedule, we're gonna bring it really us. But yeah, that playoff committee will look at that different if you end up losing to a team that you shouldn't have lost to, like losing to South Carolina that year. Ha ha.
We shooting jabs today.
Yeah. I gotta make it interest. Hey, so I'm gonna ask this, not as a fan, but as a team wise, do you think Georgia is underestimating TCU a little bit?
Yes. Man, and that's the thing that concerns me the most is when you're confident. Like, think about it like almost like Conor McGregor, right? Like that, it's cool to
Yeah.
be confident, but like there becomes a point where you're beginning to become cocky. Um, I'm hoping that
Mm,
Kirby has having to have been there so many times, having to have dealt with this with the Alabama team so many times, having to have dealt with this with the Georgia team. Because remember when we started off the season, he kept saying we're not going to be hunted, we're going to be the hunters. Like he kept
hmm
reiterating that, and so I'm hoping that whatever, because you don't just change this overnight. I hopefully the message has been this all season is you guys, you can't underestimate people. Look at what happened when we
Yeah.
underestimated Kent State. Look what happened when you played Missouri. Look at what happened when you played Ohio State. Everybody told you were just gonna run all over. Like I'm hoping, it's one of those culture speeches where he constantly is showing them like this is what happens when you don't go out there and play like you're supposed to play. You can lose that game. Because at the end of the day, it's exactly what I said. TCU is there for a reason. I don't care if I believe Georgia is better. I don't care if I believe Georgia is
hmm
bigger, better. I don't care if I believe Georgia has a lights out better team than TCU. TCU is still there for a reason,
Yeah.
and they believe in themselves. And the most dangerous thing in the world is an underdog that believes in themselves. They believe in themselves.
hmm
They deserve to be there. And then what's going to happen is, who was it that said it? Was it Mike Tyson that said everybody's ready for a fight until they get punched in the mouth?
Punch in the mouth. Yep.
Yeah. What's going to
I
happen
can't
when
remember,
TCU?
but I remember that saying. Yeah.
I think it was Mike Tyson. What are you gonna do if you're Georgia and you come out there and you thinking you're gonna bully TCU and they come out there and they punch you in the mouth and
And
you
and,
realize,
and, and this makes it break you when you
yeah,
punch them back in the mouth, but they come back and punch you right back in the
but
mouth.
they
They
don't
standing
move,
up.
but they
Yeah.
don't move, and they say, all right, let's go for it, and then they keep coming back at you, and you ready for them to give up and quit because
Mhm.
that's what we do in the South. We play bully ball. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I can do this more than you. I can do this longer than you. So at some point, you're gonna give up and quit. But what happens when TCU do what TCU has done all year long and they don't quit
Mhm.
and they keep punching back and they keep getting up and saying, all right, man, hey, let's do this one more time. Is Georgia then going to cave in? Like, remains to be seen. We'll see. But I think they're going to
Yeah,
tap out.
I think so too. Hey, y'all, we got 12 in the chat. Hey, if y'all don't mind, all y'all, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. And B. German just brought up a good point. Everybody has a plan. Everybody has a
Yeah.
plan until this happens. That's fast. That's fast. I agree. Uh,
Yeah.
do you think there is any chance TCU can win this game? And if so, how do you think can it? How do you think it happens?
No, I don't think there's a chance. But if it were to happen, I think the recipe would be you got to force Georgia into a shootout. You got to force
Mm,
them. You got to make sure that they don't feel comfortable and settle into controlling the game. If Georgia is settled and operating like they want and they're controlling the game, TCU will get absolutely mollywopped. If TCU can force Georgia to have a shootout, to say, hey, well, let's see who can be. Let's have a race to 50. Let's see who's the first who can make it to 50. I think Georgia will lose because then at that point, you're forcing Georgia to make a key mistake. And that's all you need. You just need something to happen that changes the fortune of the game. If you're scoring back and forth, it's 14-14, and then 21-14, and then it's 21-21, 28-21, and then it's 28-28, and then you turn the ball over, and then TCU gets the ball and they can then go up to 30 something, now you're changing it where now Georgia is playing catch up. And
mm-hmm.
the only thing you need is to stay up and get one more key turnover because now you have an race. Who's the first to 50? And I think TCU, if they can start off super quick, super fast like they did against Michigan, and make it into a race, they gotta make it into a race. Then I think that's the only chance I feel like they have at winning the game. If they do not make it into a full out sprint, then they're gonna lose. Like you have to make it where when we mentioned it earlier, where those defensive guys are saying, we're tired, we don't supposed to be on the field as much. Why are we like we're scoring super fast and they're getting on the field, so they're scoring back just as fast. Like it has to be a all out TCU has to make it a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
They got to make
Play in their
a Big
hands.
12 game, because at that point you're even the playing field. And you're putting the game into the hands of who can make one play.
And let's go back to what I said earlier. It's gonna be key for that 3-5 defense. Can you keep Stetson in passing situations? Because then that's where you can see how effective the 3-5 could be. Can be if you can get home on Stetson Bennett, stop him from extending plays. If you just have to find a way for them not to be able to control the game, play into what you want them to play in. That's gonna be key for TCU defense. That's gonna be key for TCU defense. So my man Chris said, Coach Smart always says humility is a week away. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's that simple, man. You gotta remember, especially in college football. College football is not like the NFL, man. NFL, they lose a game every other week or so, every 2 or 3 weeks, and then the next week they get the rebound and keep going. In college football, and that's what makes college football so special is if you lose this week,
one game can hurt.
One game can hurt. Your whole season can be done. So
B. James said Kirby is the master of halftime defense adjustments. I see it at Bama so many times. That's facts. I ain't see it this year though.
He did
made no
last game too. He did it. He did it at he did it for the Ohio State game, because if you remember, that boy Harrison, I think 99%, if not all of his stuff came in the first half. He played through
facts, second half he
played through, I think, about maybe 3/4 to probably 80-90% of the third quarter. He didn't get hurt till towards the end of the third quarter.
He
took him out of the game.
And remember, one of my X factors was Emeka Ibuka. He came in big for that was one of my X factors last week. But let me get your overall game prediction and your score prediction.
I think Georgia has a strong, heavy run dosage, and I say it'll be 28-10. A little bit of lower scoring.
Ooh, wow. Okay. I went so big on mine. I went 45-28. I honestly think, I bring up some good points. If this happened, that happens, you know what I'm saying? But in the end, when I just look at it, I'm like, I just think Georgia gonna be too much for this TCU defense. I just think they're gonna be overall too much on both sides of the ball. I believe SEC gonna come out and out physical the what are they, Big 12, whatever. I think we just finna out physical them. We finna wear them down. By the end of the second quarter, you're gonna start seeing that TCU, like you said, they're gonna start making them flights, scheduling the flights back home to Fort Worth. That's me personally. I just think. But somebody told me that you can't look at football like ifs. I said, actually, before the game, you can look at it with ifs. I said, actually, all people talking about, I said, ESPN, that's all it is. What ifs? We say what we think happened, but it's really a big what if thing. I said, even if you're a coach, I said, this is how I'm thinking. If I'm a coach, yes, I got my initial game plan, but now I got to start thinking, okay, what if we are in this situation? What if we are in this situation? Like last week when I was asking you questions, what if you go down 14 points? Because I'm thinking, initially, I don't think it happened, but I know it can happen. It's a what if. Now, after the game, you can take what if James Williams doesn't get hurt? That what if is gone. What if Marvin Harrison doesn't get hurt? It happens. But before the game, that's all predictions is. That's all us going over the game. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. Big what if. It's big what if.
Yeah. Like what if Darnell Washington didn't get hurt,
Yeah, that too. But what if back to Marvin Harrison? What if he get hurt? Be jamming his Steve Hicks. He scored prediction up here. 35-28. I think that's a solid one too. B Jamming got 37-28. I think that's a solid. I went 45-28. 45-28. I'm sticking to it too.
Seems like
But
28 is a common number.
yeah. But I think that was a great show. It might have been one of the top ones we did. I feel like I don't know.
Hey
I think
man,
we've been
top
putting it.
show for the top team, baby.
Hey, that's why you can't be a hater, especially when you do this. You gotta talk about what was bringing in and making. Georgia bringing it in right now. And in the end of the day, I think Georgia about to repeat. If y'all repeat,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start getting my dynasty papers ready. I ain't gonna let y'all sign them yet, but I'm just start collecting the information and let y'all sign into the dynasty. Start looking,
No,
reviewing y'all files.
we can fill in we can fill out the application. That's what we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be on the
Start getting
review.
the reference. Yeah, start getting our reference list together, last known locations and jobs, stuff like that.
Royalty, what's up? Well, he got a score prediction for the
Woo.
113. Woo! Thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you for tuning in. I don't even think I seen you before. Thank you for tuning in, sir. Kirby called his daddy Nick. what Steve Hicks said. Kirby called his daddy Nick. Sabian said, "Help me, dad." Steve crazy. Steve Hicks crazy. But y'all,
I don't know.
hey, thank y'all for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the CTS Sports Room, please subscribe to the channel. We got a show on Monday night with Matt Cadell, Football University. He talks about NFL, and he brings it back. How can we use it back, at Alabama football? So I really, personally, me, I really like this show. Tuesday night we have Rolling with the Tide with Roll Tide Rise Up, Spencer, William Bryant, Kangaroo Black, and myself as well. Well, if y'all lose, I'm y'all know on this show. This the show we talk crap. This the nighttime show. This when you put the kids to bed. We talk how we want to talk. We talk like grown folks on this show. But if y'all win, we're gonna give y'all lose. Oh, bro, y'all ain't gonna never not hear it. So y'all subscribe to that. Like I said, then Saturday mornings you got the Special Teams podcast where we talk football for real, have real football conversations. No bashing. Might throw a little shots here and now, but it's all jokes. It's all real football talk. And I have a new YouTube channel myself, Nick Saban Jr. Sports Talk TV. Hey, please y'all go subscribe to that. I started this page last Friday, and I'm already at. Last I checked, it was like 78 subscribers already. Hey, y'all try to help me run it up to 100 before tomorrow. Before tomorrow, please help me run it up to the Georgia fans on here. I actually did a game prediction, a game preview on there. It's basically some of the stuff I was talking about on here, but I actually go into depth with it. Me personally, I like it. I think I took real good time on it, and y'all like it as well. Please don't subscribe to that. If y'all have an Instagram, hey, follow me right here on Instagram. Message me, let me know you came from YouTube. Follow me over. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate that. But yes, sir. Another great show. And then, like I say, Georgia wins big. Wins big. Thank blowout. SEC dominance. SEC wins like always. And y'all, this been another episode of the Special Teams Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. And roll tide and
Go Dogs.
that's right. See y'all later.
Yes,